This is the Independent Dealer Podcast. Education by dealers for dealers. Now, here are your hosts, Luke Godwin and Jeff Watson.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of the Independent Dealer Podcast brought to you by Buckeye Dealership Consulting. Luke, we're still on site at BHPH United 2025.
Yep.
We found ourselves a creepy little dungeon of a room to do an interview
It's
here.
an expansive dungeon, Jeff. If I was ever going to be put in a dungeon, this would be the best place.
You got a lot of room for calisthenics, the activities, karate,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
You may recognize Dayla from our earlier episode last week, and we interviewed her this morning.
We did, and we found her story after we talked to be very interesting. So we wanted to bring her on and talk about second generation dynamics and just what it's like to be in the buy here, pay here business, up through all this yummy stuff.
So introduce yourself to the podcast community, a little bit about just where you're located, maybe the size and scope of your operation, the business model, some of that stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for that introduction. I'm super happy to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. We're located in Grand Prairie, Texas, which is pretty much in Dallas. My dad started this operation when I was about 9 or 10 years old.
So like 5 years ago? What year was that? Yeah.
1997. I
Okay.
believe, around there. And so I was raised in this business.
I'm sorry. It's a tough childhood. I went through it. So
And Luke will interrupt you every other sentence.
every other
just be
sorry,
prepared.
sorry.
And ever since then, I've just been super involved. I think it was 2 years that I decided I'm never coming back. I'm leaving at 22. And then here I am. So I finished college and I was like, again, I am never coming back to buy here, pay here, right? I'm not going to do this. I've seen the struggles of my dad, and I just want to go far, far away. Is that what you felt? Yeah.
So what brought you back?
Well, my dad never stopped begging me to come back.
Mm.
He was always persistent, and I was like, no, you're doing great. My sister was very involved back then. And I would talk to her and I'd say, am I needed? Is he just being a big crybaby?
Yeah.
And she'd be like, no, you're fine. You're fine. You like what you're doing. Well, anyways, my husband, once I met him, he was in the car industry and he was like, why'd you leave again? Are you crazy? You need to go back.
Oh, wow. That's it. That was a little different than what would
Yeah.
typically happen. So what,
Yeah.
what did he do in the car industry?
He was just, he sold parts.
Okay.
Sold parts. So he knew a lot of dealers,
Okay.
and some doors closed for me where I was, and I was actually applying at another dealer. And he was like, why are you applying that? Like, your dad's begging you to come back. And I was like, because I'm stubborn. That's why.
Yeah.
But I finally came back.
And it's a tough dynamic to work for family,
It is.
especially with your dad, where, I mean, obviously he wanted you there, but does he see you do you feel like you're seen as like a valued employee, or do you feel like he sees you as like my daughter that I can't trust with things?
I think it was more of a trust thing. He definitely trusted me. That's why he wanted me back. But it wasn't that I could make any decision for the dealership. So I was just kind of under his rule.
Yeah.
Has that changed now?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that. What is your current role at the dealership? What would you say is like the bulk of your time now that you're there full time?
Yeah. So about 6 years ago, my parents left the U.S. to El Salvador, which is our native country. And they started a project over there, and it was just temporary. But when they saw that we survived and we thrived without them, they were like, okay, we can actually retire now.
Oh, cool.
So did they retire in El Salvador?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been about 6 years. Me and my husband have been running the operation on our own. And I talk to him on FaceTime about maybe every 2 weeks about the business. But he's just very, not making.
Wow. Okay. So you brought your husband in. Did he
Yes.
come in at the same time you did when you went back?
Almost. Now it's been about 11 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. So
Yeah.
so your parents are gone. It's you, your husband, and your sister?
No, my sister left about the same time my dad was exiting for his
You booted them
project.
all out.
No, she got tired of the industry.
Okay.
She had never worked anywhere else. She's older. And so I think she was just ready for new waters. And so went to the real estate. Yeah. And so now she's doing great with that. But that kind of left me, at first I was upset. Feeling lonely, like my parents are gone, my sister's gone, and but it gave me a really big opportunity to really start questioning everything that we had been doing for the past 20 something years. And really questioning, like, are we doing this because it's
Where you used to do it?
Yeah, what we're used to doing, or is it really what's best for for the business? And so we had been going to our local IDA, state IDA, every 2-3 years, just for compliance purposes, but not really to get better at selling or any strategy.
You were going there to get the hours so you could keep your dealer's license, right?
Yeah.
Instead of actually taking advantage of what was there.
Just because back then my dad wouldn't have, I could have the greatest strategy for him, but he was not going to let me do anything, So then he kind of just, it allowed me to question everything. And so I realized that we had grown over time, and we had no structure. We, until about a year and a half ago, we didn't even have a collections department.
So how many people do you have on staff now?
Now it's about 20 of us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you came in, were a lot of those employees there then, or have you grown up to those employees?
We definitely have some people that have been there for a very long time. And so I've added to
Okay.
But a lot of them are family members.
Yeah. What, how big is your portfolio?
Right now we're
1,200?
the note?
Yes.
Okay. 875.
875.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been to that number before. That's it's a lot of work, and 20 people is about what you need. Do you have in-house recon and things like that, or do you?
Yes, we do in-house recon, not body shop, but as far as
I guess you do a lot of CPI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're big on CPI.
Yeah. They're in Texas, isn't everybody?
Yeah, isn't everybody? Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
So that's you got a big operation going on. Like, that's a lot of moving parts. What do you find is like taking the bulk of your attention and time? Where do you focus on? Is it hiring? Is it processes? Is it accounting? Are you the buyer? What is it that takes your time?
I'd say if I'd have to pick, it'd be processes and just overlooking at all the departments and just kind of, just kind of taking a day of the week and kind of just acting like one of them and, what are we doing today? And just kind of, making observations and seeing like, okay, I don't like how that's working out. So maybe I need to change that.
That's interesting. She's consulting in her own business. She is inserting herself into the daily operations.
Let's work on your business. That's not in it, right?
But she's getting in it so she can work on it, which is really neat. That's awesome. And do you take that back and process it yourself and see what you can do to fix it? Is that how that works? Yeah. When your husband, what does he do in the business?
He's in charge of buying.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine to maintain that portfolio, you're probably doing 50 to 60 a month or something. Do you know
How many cars
sales-wise?
sell?
How many? I'd say right now we're at an average of 35.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They maintain 800 accounts?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we've always done.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, why am I so small?
Well, your charge-offs might be too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's great. So what else do you find is a challenge, like in the dealership, or have you pulled anything away from this week that you're taking home?
Well, just lots of things. I've been blown away by so many dealers. Discovery Auto.
Yeah. Harry's good friend.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Another level.
Yeah. Talk about
Harry is on another level. And if y'all know we were talking about, go back and check out Harry on a couple episodes, 2 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Just an amazing operator. And
I'm
great
curious, maybe I can ask this and you don't have to answer if it gets too like in the weeds, but as far as maintaining the portfolio and funding it, are your parents helping fund that? Is that kind of their retirement? Do you pay them out? Or did you go out and get your own line of credit or sell a kidney, or how did you cover that?
2 kiddies. Yeah.
I'm still recovering. No, the way that my dad, started this business, one of the big fundamentals was no debt.
Bootstrap, baby, bootstrap.
That's tough.
And it was like growing up, I remember he would sell sell as much as he could, and when he would run out of money,
Just
he would
quit
say,
selling.
I'm gonna go to El Salvador for a couple of weeks, I'll be back. And when he was back, they'd do some money in the account. Because he knew that if he'd go to the auction, he was gonna end up buying.
Well, Dave Keller, and I've said this before on the podcast, he said, the best way to help cash flow?
Yeah.
Stop buying for 3
Stop
weeks.
buying.
And it's true, your cash just rises so fast.
Mhm.
And that's the way you have to, if you're not borrowing money, you have to learn how to stop selling cars. And it's hard as a car dealer to stop selling cars.
Yeah.
But if you stop
Hard to stop
selling,
buying.
well, if you stop selling, you stop buying. And if you stop
You should.
buying, you stop selling.
I know
So-
people that stop selling but don't stop buying.
Well, that's
That's
true.
the problem.
That's
So
true.
you've been doing it organically and you've stayed that way.
Yes, I mean, we do have a floor plan account, and we've used it from time to time, but for the most part, it's paid off.
Yeah, I mean,
That's great.
I can understand having a floor plan every once in a while because you do need to stock up, right?
Mhm.
Going into tax season,
For
stock
certain
up.
Yeah.
seasons.
Yeah, but that's interesting. And plans to buy your dad out?
Yes, that is in the plan, the near future. Super excited and nervous at the same time. It is a big step. And
Yeah.
so, to stay debt free and to be able to pay him at the same time.
That's
That's going to be challenging.
that's impossible. Your debt may be his debt, which is a little family debt might be a little easier, but still I get it. That's a big deal.
Well, you all run into the same problem of you joined the dealership 11 years ago
And grew it.
and you grew it for him. And all you did was create a larger dollar amount that you now have to buy him out for, unless you guys have some sort of an arrangement that backdates back to when you started. But we see that all the time with dealers where it's like the son is, hey, I built this since you left. And the dad's like, well, I gave you the springboard to even build that.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, why am I paying you now for all my hard work when I doubled your portfolio and you want to cash out on it?
Yeah. People know what happened to me. And,
Mhm.
and the biggest mistake I made was not drawing a line in the sand when we entered into our original me buying portions of the business or getting portions of the business. I didn't say, okay, on December 31st, 2024, the buyout is going to be X and it's already put in writing. It's a lot easier to do that then.
Yeah.
And when you double the size of your business and say, now I want to buy you out.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
Do you guys have anything in writing? Any just kind of verbal agreements?
We are working with
Hopes.
Steve Levine
Oh,
to
good.
make that. So
Steve Levine,
we're in good hands.
A sponsor of the podcast
Okay.
and Ignite Consulting. And that is something I didn't do. I used Dave Keller and I discussed this and he did a great job. But we didn't bring somebody like Steve in who could have written the paperwork to benefit us both. And so we wouldn't have run into a problem later down the line. So Steve will take great care of you.
And what I find is it's good to have a trusted expert as a third party, right?
Oh,
Because you're going to go, I go to my dad and I say, hey, this, and he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. But when Steve comes in and says this, he's like, okay, that makes sense. I get it. Because I think a lot of times the first generations can have very unrealistic expectations of what they think they should get out of the
Mhm.
portfolio
And how it
what
should
they
come
think
to
it's worth.
Yeah.
How it should come to them. And it's like, that's not reality. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to slave until I'm 80 to pay you off.
Yeah.
Like that makes no sense.
Yeah.
So
if you, if you could change one thing about your dealership today, what would it be? I didn't mean to stump you.
The number of sales,
Mm.
I
Wanna
would like
increase?
to increase for sure.
Everybody wants to increase.
well, 20 employees with 35 sales, that seems a lot.
Well, not if you got 875 accounts.
Well,
That's about right.
exactly. If you got the accounts, but at 35 sales, I don't think you're replacing 875 accounts. That math doesn't matter. So
Well, it's
I don't know if you're
math for me.
losing accounts or if you're maintaining
Well,
accounts.
if she has a low
We-
charge off rate and can keep people on the books and it's
We've
doable.
been in between, we've been stuck at like around the same number for a really long time. And I'm, okay, what is it gonna take for us to get to
Yeah.
the 900?
I asked Chuck years ago because our deal was we were going to get to 1,000 accounts, right?
Mhm.
And Chuck told me you're going to need to sell 42 cars a month to get there. And that was before COVID. And during COVID, we were selling I think we averaged 40 244 cars during 2021, 22 in a time span, in that time frame. And we got to 960 accounts. So that was the number. It just, we could not get there. We could not push to, we could not maintain that push.
Sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Taylor, thank you so much for your time. I think this has been super educational. It's great. I mean, your first time at a
This
convention?
is my second year.
Okay,
Second year,
second
okay.
year, buy here, pay here, yeah.
Yeah.
And still learning stuff and has
Yeah.
her dad and has been in it forever.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
It's
there's always
inspiring.
something.
It's inspiring to me to see the younger people doing it first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just said younger people.
Well, I'm old.
Because you're old. He seems old.
I'm not that young.
All right.
Thank
Talk to you
for
guys.
having me.
Yeah.
Talk to y'all next week.
Thank you for listening. Please leave us a review. We'll catch you in the next episode.